Good evening, everybody. Welcome back to another installment of Scott's Selections. It is currently March 11th, and we're looking at the college basketball card again, and I believe that there is value on another play that should bring us more profit. Just to recap briefly on what happened yesterday, we won again in pretty much identical fashion to how we won on Saturday. We recommended North Dakota State -3 against Oral Roberts, and just like the game against North Carolina and Duke, the line itself made no sense. The line was at roughly -3, and then the team that we bet on was losing at the half and then proceeded to dominate the opposition in the second half for an easy double-digit win, which brings our record on this show to 3-1 with all lines at -110. Now, just to recap some stuff over the weekend, college basketball is still in the thick of conference tournaments. We had a couple more teams clinch some berths. You had some great games between Liberty and Lipscomb in the A-Sun. You also had some great games between Bradley and Northern Iowa, where Bradley came back and ended up clinching a spot in the NCAA tournament. And you also have some conference tournaments wrapping up tomorrow between Wofford and NC Greensboro. But for this game that we've selected, we have decided to go with one of the defending champions in the Horizon League. We are going with the Wright State Raiders, -6 right now, as they take on the Wisconsin Green Bay Phoenix, and that game's supposed to kick off tomorrow night. It's important to mention the fact that the game is going to be on a neutral site. However, it is going to be just the venue itself is going to be in Detroit, so there will be a slight home court for Wisconsin Green Bay, but that doesn't really scare me off. Wright State -6, I believe, should be a solid play. And just to recap so far, both of their respective seasons, Wright State is 20-12, and they tied for a share of the regular season Horizon League title with a 13-5 conference record, while Wisconsin Green Bay is 17-15 overall, and they are 10-8 in conference play. Both of these teams won their quarterfinal matchup, naturally with Wright State dismantling of IUPUI and winning by double digits at home, whereas Wisconsin Green Bay had a more stressful occasion against the UIC Flames, but they were able to sneak away with a close victory at home. And the reason why, for people who don't really remember much about last season, Wright State is the team that won the Horizon League automatic berth last season as they won the conference tournament. And now, after starting off a little bit slow, and it looked like Northern Kentucky was going to run away with this conference in the regular season, Wright State has caught fire as of late, and we think that this spread is simply too low, particularly for a team like Wisconsin Green Bay, who has been awful on the road. This team has won the majority of their games at home and have struggled on the highway, and they've even played at Wright State before, and Wright State was able to just beat them by double digits. This game is on a neutral, but Wright State has been a lot better on the road this season than Wisconsin Green Bay. And just to mention some trends real quick, the Raiders, Wright State, they're 6-1 ATS in their last 7 games following a straight-up win. They're 5-1 ATS in their last 6 games following an ATS win, and they're 4-1 ATS in their last 5 games versus a team with a winning straight-up record. Meanwhile, some negative trends for Wisconsin Green Bay. The Phoenix are 3-9 ATS in their last 12 games following a straight-up win. They're also 3-7 ATS in their last 10 games following an ATS win. And just as a general rule of thumb, the favorite in this series is a 9-3 ATS in the last 12 meetings. These teams have played twice this season, with the home team winning both times. So they split the home and home. But one stat in particular that I'm looking at, which is why I think Wright State will come away with a relatively easy victory in this game, is the difference in opposing points per game. And Wright State's coming into this game on a roll, giving up less than 68 points per game, and they absolutely destroyed IUPUI in their last game as they won by double digits, and they held their opponent to less than 60 in that game. So overall, Wright State is a very solid defensive team, very fundamentally sound. According to ESPN, they're giving up 67.5 points per game, which ranks 70th in the entire country, and against IUPUI, they only gave up 56 points. In fact, if you scroll all the way back, they have not given up more than 70 points in their last 5 games. So they're clearly they are clicking right now at all cylinders. And Green Bay is on the opposite side of that spectrum. Even though they ended up winning, Their game against UIC, they did give up 77 points, and it is worth mentioning that Green Bay this season is giving up 82.2 points per game, which is the 7th most in the entire country. So with that being said, Wright State's clearly the better defensive team. They have the experience, especially from last year's NCAA tournament team, led by their star guard Gentry, as well as being led by center Loudon Love. They are a very solid team. They've been there before. They know what it takes to win these neutral site games, as they did last year, and Green Bay does not. It is important to mention that since this conference is usually weak, you have a team that's 20-12, which is a respectable record, versus a team with a 17-15 record that barely was able to scrape by a UIC team that's 16-16 this season at home, as they won by 5. I think Wright State is going to be pretty angry that Green Bay was able to beat them on their home on Green Bay's home court on February 28th. It's a revenge spot for Wright State, not to mention the fact that Wright State is looking to get back to the NCAA tournament and to potentially win a game, unlike last year where they lost in the first round handily to Tennessee. So the selection that we are going to go with is Wright State -6. It was originally at 6.5. It's come down to 6. My guess is because of the fact that the game will be played in Detroit, which should benefit Wisconsin-Green Bay. But we don't think it's going to matter. We think Wright State is too deep of a team and they're too experienced, and that Wright State should be able to win this game by somewhere around 10 points. And that is going to be doing it for another installment of Scott's Selections for March 11th. And good luck to everybody in the upcoming betting week, and we hope that the selection will help bring the team's record to 4-1 and to prolong our winning streak. And with that, have a good day, everybody.